relax and settle in for a story that just might creep under your skin.
On the edge of town, where the forest pressed close and the road thinned to gravel, stood the Grafton Doll Museum. Its brick walls leaned slightly with age, and its windows, always fogged from within, reflected the world outside like dull coins. Few ventured there willingly. Children dared each other to run up the front steps and touch the iron door handle, then shrieked when the door rattled as though from an unseen hand. Adults passed by with quickened steps, muttering about odd sounds at night, tiny tapping against the glass as if something inside wanted out. The museum's curator, Mrs. Large, had been there as long as anyone remembered. Some claimed she had inherited the building from her grandmother, others that she had simply arrived one day and never left. She was a tall, spare woman with hair the color of spider silk and a voice like a lullaby sung in an empty house. Cindy Moreau, a graduate student in folklore, had heard these stories but dismissed them. She specialized in material culture, and the museum, with its hundreds of dolls, seemed a treasure trove of forgotten narratives. Her research proposals spoke of cataloging local superstition. In truth, she wanted to see if there was anything real beneath the whispers. It was October when she wrote to Mrs. Large, requesting a private tour. The reply came in neat, looping handwriting. "Yes, my dear. Come at dusk. The dolls are loveliest by lamplight." The museum smelled of dust and lavender oil, heavy and cloying. Cindy shivered as she stepped inside, notebook clutched in hand. Mrs. Large greeted her with a smile that didn't touch her eyes. "You're just in time. They don't like waiting." She led Cindy into the great hall. Cases lined the walls from floor to ceiling, glass gleaming in the dim light of shaded lamps. Inside, the dolls sat in careful rows, porcelain beauties with rosebud mouths, stiff wooden figures painted in fading colors, wax children with real human hair threaded into their scalps. Cindy felt their gaze immediately. Hundreds of painted eyes, glossy and unblinking, followed her as she walked the aisles. She wrote in her notebook quickly, the scratch of her pen too loud in the stillness. "Every doll has a story," Mrs. Large whispered reverently. "Some were gifts, some were rescued from ruin, and some found me." Cindy asked questions. Dates, materials, regions of origin, but Mrs. Larch's answers strayed. She spoke of voices heard in the night, of little hands tugging at her skirt, of dolls arriving on her doorstep wrapped in brown paper and string, with no return address. One case made Cindy stop. Inside was a small doll, no bigger than a child's head. Its porcelain face was cracked, its open mouth frozen in a scream. The glass marbles of its eyes were clouded, like milk left too long in the sun. Its case bore a simple label, "Unidentified. Found in an abandoned farmhouse, 1912. Cindy leaned closer. For a heartbeat, she thought the lips trembled. She blinked hard, but when she turned to leave, a sharp rattle came from the glass. The doll's hand, once resting on its lap, was pressed flat against the inside of the case. Her pen slipped from her fingers. Mrs. Large was suddenly beside her, close enough that Cindy smelled the lavender on her breath. "They don't like to be ignored." Cindy tried to laugh, but the sound died in her throat. She retrieved her pen and scribbled notes with shaking hands. Hours passed in this way, until the lamps burned low and shadows stretched long. When at last she made for the door, she noticed something. The dolls' heads had turned. Every porcelain face stared at her retreating figure. The handle of the front door was cold, and when she twisted it, it would not move. She tried again, harder. The lock was firm, as though welded shut. Behind her, glass shattered. One case, then another. A scatter of shards rang out like bells. Tiny feet clicked against the wooden floor. Cindy turned. Porcelain hands dragged along the walls. Painted eyes gleamed in the lamplight. Dolls crawled free of their cases, mouths opening and closing as though tasting the air. She fled deeper into the museum. Corridors wound like a maze, lined with more and more shelves, each stacked high with dolls. In one narrow room, the faces grew stranger, scorched, melted, stitched with black thread. A single bulb flickered overhead, buzzing faintly. From the shadows came Mrs. Larch's voice, soft and loving. "You see, child, the dolls aren't haunted. They are hungry. They need new friends, new faces." Cindy stumbled back, eyes darting for an exit. But the shelves trembled. One by one, the dolls pitched forward, landing on stiff little legs. They began to crawl, dragging themselves across the floor with jerky, insectile movements. The bulbs sputtered and died. In the dark, Cindy heard them. The scuttle of many small feet, the tap of porcelain teeth against one another, a sound like tiny jaws opening wide. Her scream rose high and sharp, then cut off abruptly. The next morning, the museum's doors were unlocked, the lamps extinguished. Mrs. Larch opened as usual. Visitors noticed a new case in the main hall, draped with a white cloth. Those who dared peek beneath it swore they saw a figure inside. Not a doll at all, but a young woman, her face pale as porcelain, her glassy eyes still wet with terror. And if one lingered too long, her lips seemed to move, as though silently pleading for someone to take her home.
I hope you enjoyed the story. Remember to like and follow or subscribe. And I would absolutely love it if you would share this video with your friends.